Welcome back to part 2 of the story of Anna Sorokin, aka Anna Delvey. In part 1, we left off telling the story of Rachel Williams and what happened on her trip to Morocco with Anna. And the story continues. First, to refresh your memory, Anna invited friends to Morocco and could not pay the bill with her non-functional credit cards and never arriving wire transfer. The hotel was threatening to call the police, so her friend Rachel Williams ended up footing the bill for $62,000, and we'll continue the rest of the story here. A month later, after the vacation was over and there were no private butlers or morning massages, Rachel had only been paid $5,000 on a $62,000 bill. Anna, as a usual practice, had repeatedly promised a wire transfer was coming to Rachel to cover the loan, and of course, it never came. Anna never fully repaid the debt to Rachel, and later, although Anna was convicted on several charges, she was not found guilty of stealing the money from Rachel. However, it has been reported that the credit card company forgave the majority of the debt eventually. Although things were probably always falling apart around Anna, at this time she was sinking even faster than before. Sometime after the trip to Morocco, Casey received a call late one night from Anna asking if she could spend the night at her place. Casey had company and was hesitant about letting her stay, but she gave in and Anna crashed at her place for the night. However, Casey became suspicious of Anna and contacted Rachel, and Rachel told her all about what happened in Morocco. Shortly thereafter, Casey scheduled a sort of intervention for Anna. They didn't learn much from Anna at the intervention, and the circumstances that caused Anna to need lodging the night she called Casey are mind-boggling. After Anna was kicked out of the 11 Howard Hotel when she returned from her trip, she strolled on down to the Beekman Hotel with the same con in tow and was confronted there as well about no credit card on file and the promise of a non-existent wire transfer. She owed the Beekman $11,518.59. She was locked out of her room and her personal items were confiscated. None of this continuous eviction streak deterred Anna. She moseyed on down to the W Hotel to seek refuge there. She was able to finagle her way in, but within about 2 days she was out on the streets again, and that is when she made the phone call to Casey asking if she could spend the night, a homeless heiress. And although Casey had opened her place up to her for that one night, Anna showed back up at her place again, sitting in her lobby for hours trying to get back in. But she left eventually. Although she did not want her staying at her place, Casey was concerned about Anna and eventually made some calls trying to find out where she was. Well, she did, in the New York Post newspaper. The Beekman Hotel and the W Hotel said, "Not today, Satan," and they filed charges against Anna for her failure to pay for services rendered. Anna got a criminal lawyer, Todd Spodek, to fight the charges, and he put a lien on her quote-unquote assets to ensure payment. She actually asked if she could stay at his home on their first meeting, but he declined. So before we get into the court case and the details of how Anna got prison time, let's explore some more of the cons that she pulled on a couple of people, including the big one where she was seeking millions of dollars for the Anna Delvey Foundation, which was to be located at 281 Park Avenue South, an iconic 6-story, 45,000 square foot New York City landmark building. First, I will say from my own observation that Anna sought wealthy people to be around, or at least working people around her, as a safety net for when she needed to use them for money. But actually, she was also sort of living off of them without them knowing it. Here's a perfect example for what I mean from the cut, quote, "After a gallerist at Pace introduced her to Michael Zhu Huang, the extremely young, extremely dapper collector and founder of Beijing's M. Woods Museum, Anna proposed they go together to the Venice Biennale. Huang thought it was a little weird when Anna asked him to book the plane tickets and hotel on his credit card, but I was like, okay, whatever," he said. It was also strange he noticed during their time there that Anna only ever paid with cash, and after they got back, she seemed to forget she'd said she'd pay him back. It was not a lot of money, he said, like $2,000 or $3,000. After a while, Huang kind of forgot about it too. When you're super rich, you can be forgetful in this way, which is maybe why no one thought much of the instances in which Anna did things that seemed odd for a wealthy person. calling a friend to have her put a taxi from the airport on her credit card, or asking to sleep on someone's couch, or moving into someone's apartment with the tacit agreement to pay rent and then not doing it, end quote. At a later date, Huang went to a party hosted by Anna, and long story short, the PR firm she hired for the event contacted Huang to ask him if he had any contact information for Anna. They had seen his picture with her on social media, and they had not been paid. And although he had forgiven the previous debt she owed him, he immediately realized she was indeed a con artist. Anna's big dreams of having an art foundation after her fake name that required millions and millions of dollars from other people was a testament to her level of need to control and hold a lot of power, and she was only in her 20s. Anna had built real connections with powerful people and loose connections that she used to drop names of people she really did not know. Anna was so laser focused on being in control of her foundation with no money, she sought loans instead of investors so no one could tell her what to do. She created a web of lies with influential people and businesses, including financial institutions, law firms, banks such as City National Bank, Deutsche Bank, Signature Bank, companies that charter jets, hotels, resorts, and restaurants. Her arsenal included phony wire transfer receipts, bad checks, credit cards, fake bank statements, business cards of CEOs and wealthy people in high places, the ability to convince people she was rich, and a mysterious personal financial advisor overseas named Pt.2, who mysteriously passed away and was using a burner phone bought at a grocery store. She submitted phony financial documents to hopefully get over a $20 million loan for the Anna Delvey Foundation, and the deal fell through. Here is a short audio clip from an interview with the real Anna Sorokin.
So I wonder, you wanted to be famous and well-connected. You came to New York with all sorts of plans, and you're now known as a notorious con artist and grifter and liar. And I'm wondering, do you have any regrets?
Absolutely, yes. I feel so sorry for a lot of the choices I've made, but I also feel like I've learned so much and like I grew as a person.
Have you apologized to anyone?
Yes, I did.
Who?
Well, I said, I'm very sorry for all the decisions I've made.
Oh, in court, you said it. But yeah. Have you reached out to anybody? Have you reached out to any of your friends or the hotels or the restaurants or anyone?
Well, I didn't steal any money from friends. The only friend that was involved in my criminal case, I got acquitted of that count.
Right.
And everybody else is a financial institution.
But when you say right now, you just said that, what you did it to financial institutions, it doesn't sound like you really regret what you did. You sound like you're almost kind of like casting it as though it was a victimless crime. It wasn't a victimless crime, right? I mean, you took advantage of people.
I definitely did, yeah. And I was younger, and I learned from my mistakes.
But did you?
I did,
Did
yes.
you learn from those mistakes? I mean, are you not going to do anything like this ever again?
Absolutely not.
So you served 20 months in pretrial detention at Rikers. Then you were convicted. You did another 20 months. Then you were released. And then instead of going back to Europe, you did 18 months here in the United States in immigration custody.
That's right.
But why not be free in Europe instead of in detention in the United States? Can you help me understand that?
Because I'm trying to fix the mistakes that I've done in the past. And I feel like if I were to leave and say, oh, whatever, I'm just going to do... I'm just going to move on and move to Europe, and I would be accepting the labels that they're trying to slap on me. So I think me just staying in jail and trying to prove people wrong got to stand for something. I hope people will recognize it.
But what do you mean prove people wrong? By staying in the United States and doing what? How are you going to prove anybody wrong?
Well, I'm still on my criminal parole. I'm still with ICE. I'm trying to comply with all the rules and restrictions they're placing on me and just kind of change the narrative.
What's your case to immigration for why you should get to stay in the United States after everything that happened? Why should the American people let you stay here knowing how effectively you conned and fleeced so many Americans here already?
Well, I feel like I deserve a second chance. It was one mistake that I've made, and I've served my time.
And here is another short audio clip from an exclusive interview with Savannah Sellers of NBC News. Anna is much more unrepentant in this interview, which was about 4 months before leaving the ICE detention facility.
Sorokin was sentenced to 4 to 12 years in prison after she was convicted of grand larceny and theft of services charges, a ruling she's appealing. Do you feel that you owe anyone an apology?
You mean for what? I'm not a 12-year-old kid to apologize.
With pretending that this trust fund existed and with these accountants who now know were not true, Googling how to create a fake untraceable email.
So who would I be apologizing to for that?
The banks that you tried to take the money from.
I don't think they care.
Do you think that that was wrong?
Yeah, that was definitely unethical, yes. And I would not encourage anybody else to follow my footsteps.
She has similar defiance when it comes to former friend Rachel Williams, who accused Sorokin of sticking her with a $62,000 hotel bill, a charge of larceny in the second degree that Sorokin was ultimately acquitted of. Do you have any interest in connecting with or making up with Rachel?
No, that story is just played out, and it's just not interesting to me. Her intentions are obvious, and she's just trying to write the narrative of her being a victim.
Do you see any part of her being an actual victim with the hotel bill?
It was an unfortunate situation. I never said, I'm right, but, I was never planning to defraud her.
What do people not know about you that now you have the chance to say?
I never really had any malicious intent, and I'm not just this vicious, scamming person trying to take advantage of anybody who's just stupid enough to fall for it.
Then how do you square the lifestyle aspect of what people see as the scam? The staying at extremely nice hotels, the shopping, the high tipping.
Well, at the time, staying in a hotel made sense for me because I was traveling so much. And it was not I was not staying in the biggest penthouse. I was just staying in a regular room.
Rooms with bills amounting to tens of thousands of dollars. She was convicted of theft for never paying. Were you constantly thinking about how you were next going to get money to pay for those things?
Well, it hardly went so far as I had to think about the next day. Definitely, yes. It was constantly a topic of concern for me.
Now, Sorokin's being held in ICE detention while she fights deportation for overstaying her visa.
In addition to so many other stories of the financial gymnastics Anna had been maneuvering for years, her crimes caught up with her and she went to prison. There were other factors in her life that I'm sure contributed to her behavior, like her estrangement from her family and maybe even her ex-boyfriend, Hunter Lee Soik, a tech entrepreneur who was also very ambitious. Who knows? Is there an Anna Delvey in all of us? A Charley Delvey? No, I'm not sure about that. God bless. Bloopers. They did. First, to refresh your memory, Anna invited friends to Morocco and could not pay the bill with her non-functional credit cards and never arriving wire transfer. The hostel